Hello, it's Jay here and welcome to another tutorial. Here's where we'd left off in the last lesson. We'd added trees and grass to our scene. So let's hit play. And as I said before, please bear in mind this is only an example scene. But as you can see, the terrain still looks fairly unnatural because we've got a nice smooth terrain. And we'll just stop that there. So how can we make this look a little bit more natural? Well, we're going to use the raise and lower terrain tool. Now, for these sorts of sections, I tend to come here, raise and lower terrain, and come to a brush size, or brush shape should I say, something like this. Let's adjust the size now. And I want to probably adjust the opacity quite low. If we just click away there, and that's probably a little bit too much. Let's Control Z back and we'll hit play. We'll see how that looks. And as you can see, it has automatically a much more normal look with the lumps and bumps, sort of thing you would expect to see in some sort of wood or forest. And we can also use this tool, the smooth height, and if we just come onto here, I'm actually going to use this brush, and yeah, about this size, and I'm just going to click, and this just should take any jagged edges out of the terrain. And as you can see, we have a much more smoother look, but it still has that uneven quality to it. Like I said, the sort of thing you would naturally see in some sort of wood and forest. Now, obviously this is going to be a very time-consuming process to do this to your whole terrain, but you know, it's something that you may have to do if you want your terrain to have, you know, a more realistic appeal. But let's come out now to the back here, and we can use the same tools to create cliffs or hills or whatever you would like in your scene. So if I come back to raise and lower, and if I just click away, as you can see, we can create some sort of hill effect. I'll actually swap the brush size out. Now, if you want these in your terrain, what I found best to actually achieve a more realistic look is to actually don't do a singular line sort of all the way around your scene, sort of break them up, stagger them, and do some behind, so it just gives a more realistic look because you see them behind coming into view, foreground ones, and again that's you know, very similar to what you would get in real life. So, and as you can see, I've gone too far on that one, so I can use the same process. They hold down shift and we'll just come in there and bring it down a little bit. And don't be afraid to experiment with some of these other brushes. As you can see, these can help create a more jagged appeal. That's probably a little bit too much. So again, we can come to smooth height. I'm not going to undo it. I'm just going to smooth height, and I'm just going to go over those. There we go. And as you can see, we're getting a much more realistic shape and feel to our scene. And again, we'll just keep going over, and I'll switch back to the raise for this part, and I'll smooth it back off again. Again, just for example's sake, again, you know, everybody following along needs to spend you know, quite a bit of time doing this. I'm just doing it very quickly in these videos just to give you some sort of example how these tools work. And if we hit play now, and I'll actually just turn off my desktop audio just so you don't get the echo effect through the mic, and we come here, and as you can see, it's not looking too bad at the moment. It's got that ununiformed natural look, and of course there are textures available, and if we want to add separate textures to our scene, we can just come here and we'll just click edit and add, and we'll come back to our standard assets and we'll come to terrain and surface textures, and let's add the cliff one this time. I'm going to resize it to the same size we have our terrain one, and I'll select it in the editor, and let's just go ahead and we'll sort of paste that in, or paint it over the top of the mountains here. Again, I'm doing this very quickly, you know, please spend as much time as necessary to really make this look good. I'm actually going to switch out brushes again. This will help not give you such a straight line, you know, to help break up the line between the rock and the dirt, and we'll just go through that slowly, and hopefully we can start achieving a real good quality look to our scene. And again, we'll hit play and we'll see what that looks like. Let's run to the end here. See, now you can see the rocks and the top starting to poke through. Obviously I've not gone through and done it all, so you know, you'll need to do that, and you'll probably need to spend quite a bit of time as before doing this. So, and obviously finding out any little bits like this where you can still walk up, you may want to come back in and raise up, create some sort of peak, some sort of barrier where the FPS controller isn't going to be able to get over. And again, we'll just smooth that out and we'll paint it in. And these paint tools are basically the same, you know, if you want to create some sort of path within your scene. Let's just center on the FPS controller. So we'll come back to terrain, we'll come back to edit and add, and I'm just going to use the sand texture for now. It probably isn't ideal, but again, it's just for example. So if we wanted to create some sort of path here, you know, we come in, we'd downsize our brush, and we can just paint over to create some sort of pathway through our scene. And you'll probably have to come back and maybe get rid of some of this grass. Maybe you want the odd one, you know, poking through, again giving it a more natural look, but we can just come back and go through it all. And again, you'll probably want to use, you know, a lot more textures than I'm using here. You'll might want to use different trees, different grasses. Again, this is very quick for example, but hopefully we've covered enough of the basics in order for you now to go away and hopefully create a really great looking scene for use in your project. As I said, this is for example. It won't be the one I'm using in my final project, but you will be seeing that very shortly. And I hope you enjoyed this lesson. And until next time, bye for now.